So this is the rough dig. We've got about we ended up with about a 15-inch, 16-inch deep trench with a good sized berm on the downslope. This is a little bit more of a close-up of the rough dig. So what we'll have to do is the hand laborer have to come behind here and rake out the berm to get it level, and then also the trench is going to have to be level all through. So we're looking at probably about 15 inches. Just as a word of advisory, it's much easier to add soil off the berm, just to rake soil off the berm to add inches to the trench than it is to dig. So ideally what we did was we took a bunch of measurements throughout the trench and took the highest measurement that we could find. Or, that way, the stuff that's deeper we just add, and we don't have to do any digging. Anyway, so the machine that I'm using is a mini-excavator. And so far, this is the first time I've ever used one, and it was a little jerky at first, but relatively easy to use. Basically, you just have to sort of back up along your contour line, go ahead and dig out your trench, try to get it the same level, and then just dump your soil on the downslope on the berm. I would highly recommend that you start your swales from the top of the hill and work your way down, because you don't want to cross the swales with your excavator, because it's just going to destroy that section, and it has to be hand dug out. Morning of day 4 of the swale project, and we've dug about 2,000 linear foot of swale. That's about a foot deep. I'm sorry, about 15 inches deep, 16 inches deep, 2 foot wide, with a good sized berm on the back side. Now, the digging went fairly quick with the excavator. All the digging was done in 3 days, and then I have 3 guys helping me with the leveling and the raking of the berms. So basically, after the excavator came through, did the digging, next thing we needed to do was level the trench, make sure that it's 16 inches deep all throughout the trench, and then also to level the berm backside. Now your berm, you don't want it to be compacted. You want it to be loose, but you do want it to be relatively level. This actually needs a little bit more leveling here. But once the leveling is done, right now we're starting to do the seeding, and we're seeding in an annual rye. It's late in the fall, just before winter, so we're going to use an annual rye. something that's going to be a quick cover, but not something that's going to take over. We're also seeding in a Dutch white clover and a little bit of lamb's quarter seed that will germinate in the spring. So the final items we need to complete, once we're done with the seeding of the berms, we'll need to add the organic material to the trench. And what that's going to do is your organic material is going to, over time, feed the downslope berm here. So we're going to plant our trees in the berm, and in our other edibles that we want to put in the berm, our other flowers and whatnot. And basically our organic material is going to feed this berm for an awfully long time, and over time it's going to collect anything that blows down the hill. So what I'm using is a pretty rough mulch that I'm going to be putting in, probably about 6 or 7 inches deep. So I'm not going to fill the entire berm or the entire trench. This is these are farm style swales. If you were doing a backyard, you could certainly fill it with straw, and then cover with a little bit of sand or something like that if you didn't want it to be super noticeable. But in this application, it's not really that important. So we went the cheap route of some rough mulch that we're going to go ahead and fill the trench with. And then the final thing, after we filled the trenches, about I would say about halfway up with the mulch, we're going to have to make some level spillways, and I'll show you that. So this is day 5. We're just about finished. We've got the majority of the mulch applied into the trenches. Any sort of organic material will do for your to feed your berms. And one of the final things we're going to do is we're going to install level spillways. And basically, this is right in front of me. This is a level spillway. And basically, what it does is if and when the swales fill up, you don't want it to erode your berms. And if they fill up in a heavy rain, this loose soil on your berms is gonna erode out, and then the water will find the path of least resistance. It'll create a channel, and it'll cause erosion. So your spillways are sort of like a relief valve for that. So basically, what you need is, I don't know, it really depends on how good you did at making your swales level. If you did a really good job making them level, you might want a spillway every 50 feet or so. But if you've done a poor job, you might want them a little closer. So I put mine every 40, 50 feet or so. And basically what I did was I went ahead and took the bucket of the tractor and compacted this down, made it nice and flat, and then we came back and used some hand tools, a tamper and a level, to make this nice and level, a few inches lower than the surrounding berm. So then the water fills up to here, and it just gradually spills over the spillway. It doesn't erode my berm. About 3 p.m. on day 5, and the job is complete. We did 2,000 linear foot of swales with about 40 of the 40 man hours was on machines. So about 24 was on an excavator, and then also another 16 hours on a tractor moving some of the moving the mulch, and then also helping to create the spillways. I had 3 guys working with me, So they ended up at about 36 hours a piece. We'll round it up to 40. So it's about 120 man-hours of handwork, leveling and leveling the trenches, the berms, and raking out the mulch in the trenches. So all in all, I think went pretty well, considering it's the first time I've ever run an excavator, but pretty simple once you get the hang of it. It's a little, the controls will feel a little jerky at first. You really have to sort of have a nice touch with it, but once you get the hang of it, it actually goes really quickly. I think I dug out all this 2,000 linear foot of trench in about 3 days with the excavator, and if I had guys that were really hustling, we probably could have finished in possibly 4 days. So the next step would be to plant the trees. So we're going to be planting about 150 trees altogether, trees and shrubs and ground cover along the or in the berm. So that'll be springtime. For now, I just planted an annual rye with some Dutch white clover and some lamb's quarters just to hold the berm over the winter.